Hi everybody, Cathy McLeish, and we're doing a series now on if you are partnered up with an alcoholic. And for the most part, I'm guessing an alcoholic, or I'm referring to an alcoholic that is still practicing. And if you know my story, I was married to an alcoholic, but I am an alcoholic. So it got kind of really fuzzy as to who was doing what to whom. And a lot of times, part of my alcoholism was I hid my drinking behind his drinking. And so even for myself, it was hard for me to see the truth about my drinking. So in this video, I'm going to throw myself under the bus. I throw him under the bus all the time, and that's what exes do sometimes. I don't mean to do it. But anyways, I'm going to tell you a little bit. If you are, with somebody like me, and I'm a drinker, the way that I drank as a woman, but men can do it too, is I hid a lot of my drinking. Honest to God, I hid my drinking, and it was even hidden from me. So that's a big part of the denial. And you think we know what we're doing, and we are responsible for what we're doing, but that doesn't always mean that it's up here, because I was in such denial that if I could put a 12-pack of beer in the garbage and put a cereal box on top of it, it was gone. And I would do that during the day. I would drink and drink during the day. I worked out of my home, and when he came home, it was like we were starting together, only he'd been at the bar for a while. But I would lie. I was deceiving. I hid my alcohol everywhere. If you watch my videos, I hid it in dryers in the garage. I hid it in bags of mulch. I hid it when I got into recovery, I was warned by a woman to not go and look for all my hiding places in my home because of what it would do to me emotionally and mentally. So I waited like 60 days and went around my home and got all of the empties. I never hid anything full. I was never that alcoholic. Some people will say they did that and forgot. I never forgot where my alcohol was. So I went all the way around my house. I had over 40 hiding places in a 2-story home with the basement where I hid my empties. And you want to say, why didn't you just throw them away? I don't know why I didn't throw them away. That's kind of obvious. If you live with somebody, it's noisy, it's ugly, it's stinky. There's a lot of ways that you can get busted, and so I hid the proof. So another thing I did is I maneuvered things with finances. I was in charge of the finances. I didn't necessarily want to be or ask to be, but I was. And then when we would come up short because of our drinking, I would get another credit card. And you know what? He had no idea. And that was awesome because I could charge and he didn't know what I was charging. And so I built up credit debt behind his back that in the end I had to take when we left that marriage. I had to take it on as a single mom, and back when I got sober, $7,000 worth of credit was a lot of credit debt. It was somewhere between 7 and 10. Today, it could be a lot more than that. Another thing that I did was I manipulated bank accounts. And funny story, at least it is to me, if you can't laugh at the past, I don't know what you do with it. Learn from it. But he was gonna leave, and we knew we were splitting up. And so I would have my money, and he would, as a rule, give me his paycheck. Well, he stopped doing that. He started going to the bank, cashing his paycheck, taking out a certain amount of money and giving me maybe $250. And so this money he had at the bank, and I knew he was hoarding the money because he was leaving, was excess money, and everything else went to the bills, and I wasn't running around with a lot of excess money. So we even got tight on bills. So I had signed his name to things for years. Back in that time, and maybe still, women did that all the time. And so it was nothing for me to do something at the bank, and sign it and go through the drive-through. So anyways, as fast as he was putting the money in, I was taking the money out. And he wasn't real observant. And so in the end, when he thought he had this little nest egg, he had about $250. And I get this call one day. I get this call from the bank, and it's a bank president. And he asks if I'm who I am, and I'm, yes I am. And am I married to him? And yes I am. And he's like, well, have you been taking money out of his account? And I'm like, yes. Have you been signing his name? Yes. And I'm like, Women all over this city do that. What's the big deal? And he said, it's not a big deal for most women in this city. But as for you, your man is standing in front of my desk and he wants to press charges. So that was a little bit of an awakening to the dishonesty that I was using as I went through this relationship. I don't know that it stopped me. In fact, I know that it didn't, because the dishonesty level that I had that protected my drinking was not unpacked until I got sober. And it didn't, get totally eradicated for years, because you don't become that dishonest and then become little honest Annie. I sure didn't. I had a lot of trouble even identifying my dishonesty at different levels. Was this a lie? Was that the truth? Was that the right motive? And so who I was in that relationship was basically, in one word, a phony. And I could look at you, and once I started lying, which was way back in childhood, I, was so good at it that you wouldn't know if I was telling you the truth or a lie. Sometimes, Alcoholics in Recovery will say, sometimes I lie when it's easier to tell the truth. And that became absolutely true for me. It would be easier to flat out tell you the truth, and for some reason, I blow up a lie and blow it at you. So the dishonesty that comes with being in a relationship with somebody like that, I don't even know how you do it, but you need to know what you're dealing with. I am not where I say I'm going to be. I'm not necessarily doing what I said I was going to do, and I'm not spending the money the way that I spent it. Are you going to chase me? Are you going to follow me? Are you going to stay up nights trying to figure out what I'm doing with the money? No, because then you become as sick as me. Do you need to protect yourself? Yes. At a basic level, you really need to protect yourself and start asking yourself the question, am I part of this problem or am I part of the solution? And what, in fact, is the solution? Unfortunately, the solution for you is the same as it is for me. It's to surrender and say, I don't know what to do. I need help. And then you find a group of people that are dealing with people like us, and you ask them what they did to maintain their sanity. And they will tell you, and they will help you. And you will be able to clear a little bit of that dark cloud that we bring over the people that are in our lives and come to a decision that is healthy for you. To stay or to go, those are the big decisions. But how to live on a daily basis and be who you were intended to be, that's what you learn in a group of people that are dealing with what you're dealing with. We need a support system, whether it's stopping drinking or we're with the person that is drinking. We need a group of people to walk the walk with and help us to be honest as we can be with ourselves and the situation that is going on. So thank you for listening. If you'd like, subscribe and join me in learning more. I'm just sharing a little information about the alcoholic that is still practicing and the one who has recovered and everything in between, because we affect everything along the way. So Cathy McLeish, subscribe, follow, and I'll see you soon. Thanks.